Okay, welcome to my first electrical video. At the moment this project is to wire up my new shed. So at the moment I've just installed this shed in the garden. It's 10 foot square. As you can see, there's nothing in it at the moment. There was an existing electrical supply running along the garden there, along the fence, as you can see in the background there, running along the fence. I'm going to reuse that. I'll probably upgrade it at some point. It's sufficient at the moment for my needs. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit a new consumer unit in the corner there, run some cabling in, maybe fit a couple of sockets, one there, one somewhere around here, one in this corner, and probably a couple by the consumer unit itself. I'm also going to run a supply down and feed to the outside socket. Eventually I'm going to make a barbecue area out the front there, so I'm going to extend the shed forward slightly. So I will also then extend the cabling for that. Right, so we've got some nice big lights that we can fit inside the shed. I think we've got like a 5 foot twin and a 4 foot single. So I'll put the 4 foot single up on the beam there, running front to back. The 5 foot twin does not fit front to back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it along there, along this central beam from side to side, and that will project the light forward, and hopefully it'll look good. Okay, so here's my stash of stuff that I've managed to get for this job. So what we're going to fit today is some sockets. I've gone for Metal Clad all the way through. These are made by BG, not bad make, I've used them before. So this one's a USB one, so I'll put this one at the front so that I can charge all my stuff in the shed. Got some more and that. Got a new consumer unit here. And unfortunately they sent me the wrong unit. This one is a little bit smaller than what I'd hoped. I wanted at least 6-way. What they sent me was a 6-way, but with 2 modules for the main switch. So in actual fact it's only a 4-way. I wanted a one with 6 ways, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to run 2 circuits for power. One for the shed, one for my kids' playhouse, which is already wired up, one for the lighting. There would have been one spare, but I'm also going to put a control system in for some outdoor lighting, and that's going to be controlled by a contactor and a timer. I'll turn the timer in a minute. Okay. Yeah, that will be controlled by a contactor, a timer, and a photocell. The reason for that is so that when it gets dark, the photocell brings on the power. It's already live because the time clock has already made it live. What will happen is then at some point in the night the time clock will switch off the power, then it will switch it back on again in the morning, and then the photocell will switch it off finally. All controlled via the to control the contactor. The contactor is because the lighting's LED, and sometimes through experience these time clocks don't really like operating with LEDs. There's the outdoor socket from the front. I'm going to put some decorative lights on either side of the door. I'm also going to put some small floodlights, one on each corner and one round the side to light up the side. They'll be controlled via a photocell. I'm going to wire the shed in FP200, which is different than what most people use, but I use quite a lot of this commercially at work, and it's a good cable to have. It's quite tough, and I'll just go and get some and I'll show you. Okay, so I've got the cable here now, and we've got two types of cable. We've got the 2.5 twin and earth. As you can see, it's FP200. It's going to look better than twin and earth. Clipped all around the place. It's quite tough, so it withstands a certain amount of impact. It's fire rated. It's a good cable. Most people don't really use it domestically, but for in a shed like this, it would be brilliant. And this one's the lighting one. This is 1.5, and this one is a 3-core. So I'm going to use the 3-core all around, even though I don't always need the 3-core. I will need the 3-core for certain aspects of this job, for switching, and also because I might run 2 different switch wires down one cable to reduce the amount of cables. So yeah, I'll get started and I'll show you what's happening when I get further into the project. Okay, so I've drilled a row of holes all the way along the shed, all the way around. See, what I'm doing is I'm running the cable under the wood there. Once I clip it, it'll be sort of semi out of view. I'll try and always keep cables out of view. So when you run cables, always try and keep them to the other side of the joist from when you walk into the room, or when you look round, or always try and put them underneath, just so it's sort of slightly out of the way. Basically, you don't necessarily want to not see them, but at least you put a bit of thought into them. Okay, so as you can see, the cable's starting to go in, and put my first socket there, probably put another one there, and put another one in the corner there. So I'll run the cable all the way around, as you can see. Okay, so the first cable's in and clipped, so as you can see, run it underneath, clipped it along underneath. First socket's going to go there. Yeah, looking from normal head height, it's sort of out of the way, out of sight, so to speak. Now the sockets are, I think, too big to fit on the bar there, so what I'm going to probably do is get a bit of wood, fix it underneath so that it gives it a bit more to grip onto. You'll see when I do it, and yeah, that'll be it, and I'll show you the next lot in once I've done some more. Okay, so the first run of sockets is now clipped in, as you can see. Okay, so this cable FP200, it really does lend itself to this sort of installation, as you can see. So what I've done is I've put the socket on the beam here, and obviously the beam, as you can see, is not quite big enough. So what I've done is I've packed it out with a bit of wood underneath, put the socket on. It's nice and sturdy. The cable runs underneath, and when you look at it from above, you can't really see the cable. Now in the corners, you can see that I've had to drill into the wooden uprights and brought the cable through. I didn't want it running across the corners, as you can see there. So it's a bit of extra work, but yeah, it looks a bit better. Okay, sockets all wired, as you can see. Earth back of the box. Earth sleeving on, cables in, all connected up nicely. Next shot you'll see is the socket front back on. Okay, the socket's on now. As you can see, it's all connected. Looks pretty good. So carry on. I've clipped cables round. This bit here, there's a bit of wood missing, so I'm going to have to put a bit of wood in there to clip that cable to. The next socket is going to go in a similar position, just there. Carry on round, and then another socket over in that corner, and a wire down for the outside socket. Okay, the sockets are now all wired in. including the outdoor socket. Okay, so the sockets are all wired, as you can see, and now I've started wiring in the lights. So yeah, the lights, quite a bit going on here, as you can see. We've got the 4-foot fluorescent here, the 5-foot twin here. This can be nice and bright in here. Okay, so what we've done is we've wired it through the centre there, wired it along, back down to the mains. This is going to be the light switch there. It's going to be a 4-gang switch. So we're going to have one for the centre light, one for the wall lights for the outside, one for the floodlights, and then one for future use, which will be for the bar area, which will be out the front. So there's quite a lot going on in here. It's all LED, so it's all low energy stuff. So the extra wire there in the corner there is for the photocell. The photocell is going to operate, bring the lights on. It's going to be time clock controlled, so the time clock's going to bring it on. Then the photocell will bring it on when it gets dark. What I'll do then is I'll set the time clock to turn off at about 11-12 o'clock at night, because I don't want it going on all night. Bring it back on at 5 in the morning, and then obviously when it gets light again in the winter, it will just switch itself off, and then that will repeat later on in the day. So we're going to have a 4-gang switch there, one for the floodlights. The floodlights, I'm going to put a corner PIR on the outside there. I'm going to have 3 floodlights, one on the outside there, one on the outside there, and one on the outside there. I'll probably run an extra cable along and then go outside, run a cable along my back fence into the corner behind the other. Yeah, let me show you. Run it along the fence, run it behind there, and then just put maybe a tiny little floodlight up there into that blind corner. The playhouse has already got wiring in. Again, that's photocell and time clock operated. Yeah, so hopefully once it's all done, it's a bit complicated, but we'll get there in the end. It'll look nice and neat. Fuse boxes going up there. I'll cut some wood, mount it up at the top there. The SWA will come in. I'll mount it on the wall on the outside into a box, bring some conduit up on the outside and bring it through the back, so the cable will come through from behind. I didn't really want to bring the armoured straight in. There are reasons for that, which probably for future use, if I ever do some insulation and stuff like that, I don't want the armoured running on the outside. Yeah, so it's all going to get there in the end, so I'll carry on and I'll show you a bit more when I've done a bit more connecting.